Hey everybody, Karyn Bryant here, and I'm talking with Trey Ogden, who is on the first fight card of 2025, taking on Thiago Moises. How you feel about being on that first card? Because obviously it means you had to train through the holidays.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. One is I did have to diet very hard and train through the holidays, and they've changed in Vegas. This is my first time weighing in where it's from 9 to 10 a.m. instead of
Oh,
9 to 11 a.m.
oh,
And I'm one of those people that kind of uses all that time in the morning.
yeah.
So I've had to be about 2 pounds leaner than normal going into fight week. And so that's something that I planned for, not having that extra hour. So I dieted pretty hard through the holidays. It wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be, but we got it done. The other side of that, though, is being on the first card of the year gives me a lot of, like, I can get a lot done this year. If I fight
Hmm.
on the first card, there's a strong chance I can fight 3 or 4 times this year. And
Right.
so I'm excited about having my most active year.
Well, that makes sense because I was going to say you did pick up two wins in 2024. And I would imagine that, yeah, you want to keep that momentum going and the timing could work out. That is the great thing about being on that first card that, like you just said, you can get more active. So,
Yeah, and I should have fought 3 times last year. This fight was actually like initially offered for like mid-October, and I would
mhm.
have done it, but it was the same card that Miles Johns was supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt on. And so at that time, it was still that way, and I had to coach Miles. So we asked if we could move it to a December card. They didn't have room, and then it
Mhm.
ended up getting put on the first card of this year. Otherwise, I would have got 3 in last year, but I think I'm set up to get 3 to 4 in this year, and that's my goal.
Well, the great thing is you have a perfect matchup. You got a guy that's ready to rock with you in Thiago Moises. What do you think about this matchup? We know you had called out Chase Hooper, but what do you think about this matchup?
I love the matchup. I knew who Thiago was. We were kind of in the upper echelon of LFA at the same time
Hmm.
together, and so I always thought I was going to fight him for the LFA title. And then he got signed to the UFC before I got to do that. So it's good to get to fight him. I knew who he was. I think we have very similar styles, and I think this could make for a really fun fight. I think that it's going to be action packed, and I hope we get some really cool like grappling transitions and scrambles and stuff going.
Well, for folks who don't know or don't remember, he had a fight of the night with Benoit Saint-Denis over in Paris. And like that, like you just described, that's exactly the kind of fight he produces. That's the kind of guy he gives. And I feel like the fans are gonna be just as excited for those kind of scrambles and exchanges. Where do you think you have the edge over him?
Well, I think I'm better than him at everything. I think we're very
Yeah.
similar, but I think I put it together better. I
Okay.
think there's going to be a difference in physicality. He doesn't do well with guys that are faster than him, and I'm
Mhm.
very, very fast at lightweight. And so that's a weapon that I always use in my striking is my speed. Um, and I think I have better grappling than him, better jujitsu than him.
Mhm.
He's known to have great jujitsu, so I'm really excited to get to test it and to find out. Um, there's only one way to find out. I mean, we can watch what it looks like on film, but it's different when you feel each other and you get a hold of each other. So I think I can dominate this fight everywhere. I know what I need to do to win. And it's just really going to be a game of who employs their tactics better and first. I think that he's a very good fighter. He's a very dangerous fighter. He's been in the UFC for a long time. He's fought a lot of the top level guys, but all the top level guys kind of beat him up. And so, he has a impressive resume, more impressive resume on paper than he does on film. If you go watch the fights like Benoit Saint Denis, Islam Makhachev, I mean he gets kind of dominated by these upper level guys. And I've also seen him kind of out wrestled and grappled by more striker guys. Like his last fight, that guy started taking him down and beating him up on the ground too. So we're gonna find out. That's what the fight game is you got to go in there and you got to see. It's all talk. Talk does nothing. But I feel really good about the matchup. I really like the matchup, and I think I can win this fight everywhere.
And do you feel that you have a better ability to make these assessments because you do also coach? Because like you just said, it's different what they do in a fight and when you're studying film and when you're really doing this. It seems like you have that advantage of being extra analytical because you also coach.
For sure. And like I've learned so much from coaching about fighting
Mhm.
myself. And I'm all day, every day, every level of the game, breaking down matchups, analyzing tactical strengths and weaknesses, putting
Mhm.
together game plans, training fighters for those game plans, and then going out and trying to execute those game plans. And so, and then watching and assessing how those game plans go out. So
Yeah.
I have a huge database in my mind now for this game. And I've been fighting for a really long time myself, and I know myself well. And I do feel like you know, in my last several matchups, my last 3 fights, I was very accurate in my assessment of the matchup, my assessment of the game plan, my preparation, and the execution of the fight. I dominated in areas that I expected to, and I ran into adversity in areas that I expected to. So I definitely think that the coaching and even just being backstage, like I'm backstage a lot, like I'm just in it a lot, and
Hmm.
I have that fight feel a lot, you know, and I think that that helps so much. And then watching other kids go through their process,
Yeah.
and and I've learned so much about myself and my process. It's so self-reflective to watch someone kind of go through this little like 3 to 4 week journey leading into a fight, and then fight day and all the narrative surrounding it and what we're saying and then what actually happens, you know.
Yeah, it's a great advantage, and you really can pick up so much. And there's so much about being at the apex, like you just said, being around it, even if it's not your turn to go. I think obviously really helps you a lot. We've talked before about your nickname, the Samurai. You talk a lot about your warrior spirit. There's been times in
Mm-hmm.
post-fight interviews you do speak about that, and as a actual tangible thing that you said you have felt in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of a fight. And I know people kind of think about Giedi Prohachka. He's another guy
Mm-hmm.
that really talks about that warrior spirit a lot. But for you, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, so there's 2 layers of life, and they have 2 different sets of language that they need. And I think a lot of problems is people try to put those 2 sets of languages together to describe the same thing. So what I mean is there's the material world around us. That's your house, your environment, your job, your physical body, the people around you, everything, right? Like it's measurable in inches and miles per hour in the scientific world. And this is the world out here that we see. Then there's this whole other world. We have 2 worlds. We live in 2 worlds, and that is your dreams and your conceptualization of what you think life is and what you think you're supposed to be doing, and the little story that you have been following yourself in your own mind of who you are and what you're doing and all of
Yeah.
this stuff. And that, to me, you can only speak about that world in like religious terminology. And that's why I think that religious terminology exists. Is But then you have people who try to take that religious terminology and like, no, this must fit the material world, but that's not what it's designed for, right? Like
Mhm.
the material world and the spiritual or ethereal or non-material environment that human beings live in, they're both just as real as each other. And so when I'm speaking about the warrior spirit, like there's things that I'm perceiving in life that are not just like physical right in front of us. And so when I'm speaking on the warrior spirit, I guess I mean your ability to stay focused through adversity, your
Mhm.
ability to face fear and face the unknown and try to conquer it, no matter what that is. You walk into a fight week, you walk into a weight cut, and you walk into a UFC level fight, the possibilities, like the potential spread of possibilities of what can happen, are infinite. And
Yeah.
some of them are great and some of them are very like not good.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen. And you have to accept that. I think you have to accept that
Hmm.
because a lot of fighters don't want to accept that because it's very uncomfortable. And so they build a narrative around what they think is going to happen. And then the problem with narratives is once you have this narrative of how the fight's going to happen or what needs to happen or whatever, then you start to try to see your narrative instead of what's actually in front of you. And I think like what the samurai and like what they were all trying to get at with their like Zen warrior uh, expression
Yeah.
would just be that they were trying to clear their mind so that they could just see what was in front of them and address it. And I think that fear is the gateway to your warrior spirit. And the only way you can connect to your warrior spirit is to go face fear and unknown and attempt to conquer it no matter what happens, knowing that it might not go well for you and that you can get very hurt. And for whatever reason, my path is drawn to connect to myself and my spirituality through the warrior archetype. And there's all kinds of archetypes that people can use to connect to their spiritual being, But for me, yeah, I'm cut from the warrior cloth for whatever reason, and that's how I relate to that other world. And that's what like fighting and the journey of fighting is pushed me to explore myself in that sense more than I would have should I not put myself under the stress of this kind of a journey, something so challenging, something so dangerous, something so unknown. Um, and something that took a very long time for me to get to where I'm at. I've been fighting for 15 years. So, and I only really just started making a living at it recently. So, it's been a very spiritual endeavor for me, more so than a career. I don't think of it as a career at all. It's just my journey into myself. And at this point, it's also a profession to me. And that's what it is.
I love that. It's a great explanation, and thank you for that. And I agree with you, and the thing about it is I agree with the part about, facing your fears and all that. And that's where, you don't have to be a professional fighter to have that warrior spirit and going forward in your
For
life
sure
and
not.
trying to do hard things. And I remember I read some I don't know who said it, but it said like, find the thing you're most afraid of. And that's where you're going to find the meaning of your life or the
And
purpose
this
of your
this
life.
could be a lot of things. This could be
Yeah.
quit your job and start a business because that's what you feel inside of you. But you're
Yeah.
scared because you have to enter
Right.
the unknown and you could fail. And it
Yeah.
is scary and you're taking risks and you could bury yourself, or it could go well and it is going to push you.
Mhm.
This could be a really unfortunate medical diagnosis, like something like cancer. And now you don't know how it's going to go, but you have to face this. And so I think that you're exactly right that, and this is why I think that everybody can relate to fighting so well. This is why the
Mhm.
sport is so popular, is because people are witnessing the warrior archetype being acted out right in front of them. And everybody can connect to that because really the backdrop of human life is adversity and what you
Yeah.
do about it, because it is challenging. Life is challenging, and it's not supposed to be easy. And the more you seek comfort and easy, I feel like the more you're going to sacrifice your potential for life.
Yeah. There's no growth in the comfort zone, right? There's no, there's no becoming better. So I do want to circle back around. I mentioned Chase Hooper before. He's coming off a win over Clay Guida early in December. The timing kind of potentially works out for you guys. I don't know that he already has something scheduled. Why is it that you are so set on proving that you're better than Chase?
I'm not necessarily still just like hanging on to it. I've called him out several times. I
Yeah.
think I'm much better than him. I think, he's getting, there's a lot of guys in the UFC that I think are getting a lot of like credit for being great grapplers that probably aren't as good as me or even close. And so that's why I'm excited about fighting Thiago too. He's got a
Mhm.
phenomenal reputation for grappling. I can't wait to see how it goes. I'm
Yeah.
open-minded to whatever that is. Maybe he's better than me. And I learn a lot, but
Yeah.
I very much doubt it. I've put a ton into it. Uh, I will not make a mistake in the grappling, and I will act very fast and correct every time. So if we grapple, you got to be on point. And I'm at a point where I consider myself a jiu-jitsu fighter. I can strike. I have a black belt in karate, a black belt in hapkido. I do have dangerous striking. I kickbox with Daniel Zaluber and 30-27 to him. And I use my striking. I think that part of being a jiu-jitsu fighter is that you have to be able to strike. This is and wrestle, because like Cron Gracie, some of these other guys, they don't understand how to weaponize jiu-jitsu, and I do, and that's what I'm trying to do. I want to test myself. I want to see how many of these guys can I do this to, and Chase is just, I think, a great matchup for me. I think I would gain some fans. I haven't
Mhm.
gotten a lot of fan notoriety yet, and I would like to fight the guys with bigger reputations and bigger fan bases and just take their shit, basically. But
Nice.
I'm not, like, if they don't want to fight me, Chase doesn't want this fight.
Yeah.
It's very wise of him not to take it, but he should, he should take it. But there's all kinds of other matchups. There's a kid on the card that's been jawing at me a little bit on this card, Nurullo Alvala. He's a Tajikistan kid. You know
Okay.
who he
Yeah.
is, 9-0.
Yeah.
Do you know his name? I can't remember his name.
I haven't studied the whole fight card
Nurullo,
yet, to be
yeah.
honest. I'm still getting back to in like
No worries. I can't pronounce it. It's
terminology.
like
Yeah.
Nurullo Alviv or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Young undefeated kid jawing at me, thinks I'm an easy fight. He could get it too. Honestly, I'm pretty open-minded to
Right.
fighting anybody, but I would like to start after this. I've won 4 in a row. I would like to
Mhm.
start. I mean, I do think that like, if you look at like, I fought Nick Moda and
Yep.
I beat him, and then I get uh Kurt Holloway. This is a step up in name. This is Kurt's first
Hmm.
fight coming out of the Ultimate Fighter winning. So that was a step up in name. So I appreciated that. And then I got Luke Radchabov, a little less
Yep.
known, but in the know. People know who he is. He's a
Yep.
savage. And so I felt like that was a really good test for me, like to see like how I would handle such a physical, experienced, dangerous,
Hmm.
scary dude, like,
Yeah.
and then I get Thiago Moises. So, I didn't get I didn't get the fighter I was calling out. But to me, Thiago is, I would say, equivalent to Chase Hooper as far as like reputation. And
Yeah.
that's all I'm looking for is I just want to continue to win fights and move up to opponents with a bigger reputation
Right.
and just climb the ladder. And so Thiago's a perfect matchup for me. If I can fight Chase Hooper, I'll take that fight on any notice, anytime. I love that matchup. But any fighter with after this fight with a better reputation than Thiago Moises, you're who I'm coming for.
Nice. Well, I love it. I love that enthusiasm. I love that confidence too. It's good to see, and it's exciting to get back in business. I feel like everybody is going to be tuning into this fight card because people are
Yeah,
starving for fights again
I know.
after a while. So, you know, all that sacrifice you put in over the holidays, I'm sure will pay off. I hope you have a great fight. I think you and Tiago are really going to throw down. It
Me
it
too.
it is something special, and yeah, I appreciate your time. And I do hope, yeah, that people start paying more attention to you as a coach and a fighter. Maybe that's it. Maybe you've just been in the coach position a little longer, and and they need to see you
Yeah.
more getting out there fighting and doing your own thing.
Well, and it's all good. The other thing too is like I just want to circle back. You said like you love the confidence, and I am
Yeah.
confident in my skills and my preparation
Hmm.
and how serious I take this. But at the same time, the reason why I want to continue to climb the ladder is because I do want to. I am looking to face myself and my warrior spirit, and I don't like. I want to know I'm on a path of self discovery. I've been doing this a long time. I feel like I've gotten about as good as I can get. Right, I'm at the top of my game. I'm at the top of my physicality, my maturity, my mentality for combat, and I need these kind of guys for me to see how good I am. So it's just to me, I don't even think of it as like a confidence or an arrogance. It's just an open mindedness. I want to. You can only get so much done in the gym. Like I need to face top level competition for me to see where I'm at, how deep I can go into myself, how good I really am, and what level I can compete at.
I love it. I love it. Well, we get to put it all to the test. You get to put your money where your mouth is.
That's the beautiful thing about this game. It's the
I love it.
beautiful thing. Yep, is
I
it
love
is
it.
we get to go do it.
Awesome. Well, folks, that will be on January 11th, the first fight card out of the Apex in Vegas. Trey is going to be fighting Thiago Moises. So best of luck to you. Thanks so much for joining me today and kicking back. I really appreciate it. And yeah,
Thank
have
you.
a great fight.
Hey, thanks for having me on again. Thank you so much.